Investiture of the Gods, Chapter 94.
The stage is set with this immediate sense of fatalism. The source opens with a poem that is just brutally honest. It talks about the fading virtue of the Yintang dynasty.
That line, Yintang de Bahangjin.
Right. And it contrasts it directly with the rising moral authority of Zhu Wu, whose virtue is being, sung across the land. The verdict is already in before the battle even starts.
And that phrase, which we see again later, that the kingdom is the great mansion about to collapse, that's the perfect anchor for this whole thing.
It is.
It signals that this isn't about skill or even courage. It's about inevitability. The people still loyal in Zhaoge, they aren't fighting for victory. They're grappling with the moral calculus of an honorable defeat.
So let's start with the physical barrier that was supposed to prevent that collapse, the Yuhun Pass.
Right, Yuhun Guan. This was meant to be the final insurmountable defense line for the Shang.
And the general in command, Du Rong, he was no slouch.
Oh, not at all. He had successfully held that pass for 20 years. The text really highlights his loyalty, his competence. He'd seen countless sieges, countless battles, and never once allowed a breach. He's the epitome of a committed, mortal defender.
But his 20 years of competence, they're made completely meaningless in just a few minutes.
A few minutes, yeah.
And this is where the narrative shifts, right? It moves away from standard warfare and into something mystical.
Precisely. Durong wasn't beaten by a bigger army or a cleverer tactic. He was defeated by, you could say, agents of destiny. Jin Zha, one of Zhu's allies, he possesses these celestial arts.
So he doesn't even need to fight him hand to hand.
No. He deploys the Dunlong Swang, the Binding Dragon Stake.
The Binding Dragon Stake. That sounds less like a weapon and more like a spiritual artifact.
That's a great way to put it. Think of it as a magical field immobilizer. It just neutralized Durong completely, left him defenseless.
Which allowed Jiang Wenhuan, the Eastern Grand Duke, to just ride in and execute.
Exactly. It's a very pointed message. Your human competence, your loyalty, it's just not enough when destiny, backed by these higher powers, intervenes. You can't defend a pass against something that isn't bound by geography.
That symbolism is incredibly dark. And his wife, Chedi Furin, she was also a key defender, right?
She was. And she met an equally sudden end. Mu Zha, Jin Zha's brother, he uses the Wugu Ji on the hook sword.
What's a hook sword?
The sources describe it as this spinning weapon, like a lethal wind wheel in the air that strikes her down from the watchtower. It's an immediate, clean sweep. The entire defense of Yuhun Pass, physical and symbolic, just evaporates.
And the aftermath really drives that point home. Jiang Wenhuan secures the pass, but the mystical allies, they don't even wait for the army.
No time to waste. Jin Zha and Mu Zha immediately use what's called Tudun earth tunneling to race ahead.
So they're literally burrowing through the earth.
Yes. It's not just fast travel. It signals the unstoppable momentum of the Zhu campaign. They aren't bound by roads or mountains. It's this physical manifestation of how divinely sanctioned the whole movement is.
And their goal was Mengjin, the great strategic meeting point. Which brings us to the scale of the forces that are now arrayed against King Zhu.
And here, the sources highlight the anxiety of Jiang Zia, the chief strategist for Zhu. Despite all this supernatural help, he's waiting specifically for Jiang Wenhuan.
Why him in particular?
Because the final march had to begin on the Wu Wu Day, March 9th. And this wasn't just, military superstition. It was a necessary astronomical alignment.
To validate their moral authority.
Exactly. In the eyes of heaven, and more practically, in the eyes of all the assembled lords.
So when Jin Zha and Mu Zha arrive ahead of schedule, the relief must have been immense.
Oh, huge. And they explained the delay wasn't a long battle. They used deception. They pretended to be wandering scholars or travelers to get inside the pass.
A simple lie plus 2 unstoppable weapons saves months of a conventional siege.
And with that final piece in place, the true scale of the operation is revealed. And this is where you understand that King Zhu was fundamentally doomed before a single arrow was even fired.
Okay, so lay out the numbers. How powerful was this force at Mengjin?
Well, Jiang Wenhuan, the Eastern Duke, he arrives leading 200 allied lords, just from his quadrant.
And the total?
The total it's just mind-boggling for the era. 800 major lords and dukes in total.
800.
Commanding a combined unified army of 1.6 million soldiers.
1.6 million troops. I mean, the level of coordination, that alone says the political authority of Zhu was already a done deal. Shang wasn't just losing a battle. It had already lost the political structure of the entire realm.
Exactly. The sheer logistics are terrifying to even think about. The source describes their approach with this this vivid, chilling imagery.
What does it say?
Things like the war clouds obscure the distant valleys and the sheer density of the weapons. Swords and spears like accumulated snow.
Like a glacier. A force of nature, not just an army.
That's the perfect way to describe it. It's an inevitable crushing force. And when King Zhou finally sees this from his city wall, he panics. He demands a strategy now.
And this is where the psychological implosion begins inside the government.
It is. The external threat is so overwhelming, it just immediately exposes all the rot inside. And two conflicting voices emerge.
The first one being Lu Renji. He's the voice of realism, right? He argues for diplomacy.
You could say fatalism. He argues the war is already lost. Morally, financially, militarily. And he uses that powerful analogy again.
A great mansion about to collapse.
One timber is hard to support. He points to the empty treasury, the public turning against the king, the total loss of morale. His advice, surrender. Or at least negotiate for peace to save face and stop the slaughter.
So he sees the truth. The war is unwinnable. But then you get the counter-argument from the minister Fei Lian.
Fei Lian. He represents the desperation of a purely transactional regime. He rejects surrender as weakness.
And what's his plan?
He uses that classic maxim, Zhang Zhangzizia by Yu Fu. Heavy reward attracts brave men.
So just buy loyalty.
Basically, he says, look, we still have over 100,000 troops. We have supplies. We just need to find some local heroes, promise them high rank, promise them riches, and get them to fight for us.
And King Zhou siding with heavy reward over diplomacy. That says everything, doesn't it? It shows the rot Lu Renji was talking about.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Unable to appeal to virtue or loyalty, King Zhou resorts to the only currency he trusts, gold and status. He posts a massive edict, a bang-pang seeking heroes. The final act of the Shang dynasty is trying to buy courage.
And that edict leads us to the moral core of this whole section, the hidden hermits. Specifically, a man named Ding Shi.
Ding Shi, the high and bright hermit, the Gao Ming Yin Shi. And he, above all others, sees the doom so clearly. He is in utter despair.
He knows what he's being asked to do is impossible.
He knows. He understands the 600-year legacy of Shang is ending not because of a better army, but because of King Zhu's. His Shi Day, his profound moral decay. He's being asked to fight against forces allied with Kunlun, with heaven itself.
His lament is so powerful, he asks how one can use, what is it, a cup of water to extinguish a cartload of fire.
Yes, that image, the sheer impossibility of it all, it makes his decision even more tragic. He knows his service will be a meaningless ritual.
But his sworn brother, Guo Chen, he sees it completely differently.
Completely. Guo Chen offers the counter-argument that embodies absolute, unwavering duty, regardless of the outcome.
What's his justification for what is essentially suicide?
It's a powerful appeal to local loyalty. He says, we are subjects of this land. We eat its soil and tread its grass. Therefore, our duty to the king is absolute. To die for the state now, in its final hour, isn't a tragedy. It's the most honorable act a man can perform.
So you have Ding Shi with his painful wisdom versus Guo Chen with his noble absolute duty, a classic dilemma.
It is, and the debate is cut short. The third brother, Dongzong, arrives and reveals he has already submitted all three of their names to Fei Lian.
Without even consulting Ding Shi.
Without a word. He just makes the decision for them. And he invokes this very pragmatic maxim, having mastered civil and military arts, one sells them to the emperor's house.
Wow. So it doesn't matter who the ruler is. If you have skills, your duty is to use them when the state calls.
That's his view. It's the ultimate expression of service over personal wisdom. And just like that, Ding Shi is trapped. Not by the king, but by the honor of his friends and the call of duty. He has to accept his fate.
And that reluctant acceptance immediately leads to the final deployment. King Zhou, true to his word, delivers on the heavy reward.
The titles were lavish, weren't they?
Incredibly. Ding Shi, despite his reservations, is instantly made the Shenxi Shanzhan Jun, the divine strategy general.
And Guo Chen and Dongzong become Wei Wu Shangjiangjun, the mighty martial generals. They get their new robes, they're given gold, and they're tasked with leading the final defense.
It's just a heartbreaking final act. These men, bound by conflicting loyalties and certain doom, lead the Imperial Guard, the Yulin Jun, out of Zhaoge.
And they even join up with Lu Renji, the very man who had just argued for peace, forcing him back into the field. The irony is crushing.
The verses of this section really emphasize that tragedy, don't they?
They do. The soldiers marching out under these newly bought generals are described as the boys suffer the net in vain. They're sacrifices, not warriors. going up against the 800 allied lords of Zhou. You see Jiang Ziya on his famous mount, the Sibuzhang, the four not alike, and he's surrounded by all the heavy hitters of the Zhou cause.
The best of the best.
You've got Neza, you can't miss him on his windfire wheels with his fire-tip spear. And of course, Yang Jian, the ultimate warrior.
It's a full-on power move.
Yeah.
The Zhou are showing off all their divine and mortal strength. But before a single arrow flies, the Shang Grand Marshal, a man named Lu Renji, he rides out.
And he tries to just end the whole thing with one word.
Treason. That's his whole play.
He uses this specific term, right? Yinshin Fajun,
Right.
a vassal attacking his sovereign.
Yes, and he lays it on thick. He accuses them of slaughtering cities, trapping towns, all of it, but boils down to one thing: toppling the sovereign.
And his final judgment is just chilling. He says, you can never escape the name of traitor.
What Lu Renji is doing here is he's quoting the law, the absolute non-negotiable legal code of the time. For him, the king is the son of heaven. His position is literally equal to heaven.
So rebellion isn't just a crime.
It's sacrilege.
Right.
It doesn't matter if the king is a good guy or a bad guy. You can't do it. The act of opposing him is a moral impossibility. That's loyalty, but it's a rigid, absolute loyalty designed to keep everything stable.
But hold on, if it's that absolute, why even argue? Why come out and have a debate? If they're traitors, just fight them.
That's a great question. I think it's psychological warfare.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to plant a seed of doubt.
Right.
He's reminding all these Zhou generals and allies that, hey, even if you win today, history is going to call you a traitor forever. He's using reputation as a weapon.
Because he knows the only way the Zhou can really win is if they can completely change the definition of loyalty itself.
Exactly. If they can't convince the world they're righteous, they're just another group of warlords trying to grab power.
And Jiang Ziya's response is just perfect. The text says he just laughs.
He laughs. It's such a powerful dismissal.
Yeah.
He refuses to even treat the argument with any kind of seriousness.
It's contemptuous.
It is. It's contempt for an idea he sees as completely outdated. Ziya knows he can't win by, defending himself against a charge of treason. He has to change the rules of the game. He has to redefine what a legitimate ruler even is.
And this is where he brings out the big gun, the mandate of heaven.
This is what's so fascinating. He immediately turns the tables on Lu Renji by using history.
He brings up Cheng Tang.
He does. The founder of the Shang dynasty itself, the very dynasty Lu Renji is defending.
And he points out that Cheng Tang overthrew the wicked Xia dynasty ruler about 600 years earlier.
Precisely. He's pointing out the massive hypocrisy. He's basically saying your entire dynasty was founded on rebellion against a tyrant. The mandate of heaven, he argues, isn't some permanent family heirloom.
It's granted based on virtue.
On virtue. And if a ruler loses that virtue, heaven takes his permission back. And the people then have the right, maybe even the duty, to find a replacement.
So loyalty isn't to the man on the throne, it's to heaven's will.
Yes. And then Ziya lands the killing blow. He says King Zhou's evil is worse than the evil of Shiji, the tyrant your founder overthrew.
He uses specific phrase for that, right?
This is Zue Guanyin, crime and evil filling to the brim. It's so important because it moves King Zhou from being, a flawed ruler to being an objective moral catastrophe.
So with that framing, the Zhou army isn't a bunch of rebels.
No, they are Feng Tian Zhang Tao. They are literally carrying out heaven's punishment. And the king isn't a king anymore. He's just a Dufomere man who has lost all divine right to rule.
Wow. I mean, that is a powerful justification. Lu Renji's whole worldview just crumbled.
And he has no comeback. He's furious at Ziya's sharp words. And that's it. The talking is over. It's time to fight.
Okay, so the moment the fighting starts, things speed up. But there's one confrontation we really need to focus on because it's so personal.
Yeah, the battlefield just erupts. But it's the arrival of the East Marquis, Jiang Wenhuan, that really carries the emotional weight of the scene.
So while other generals are fighting their counterparts...
Right, Man Gongxi and Wu Ji are handling their guys. But Wenhuan makes a beeline straight for a general named Dong Zong.
And he is furious. The text describes his hair standing up in Rajnu Fa Changwan. This isn't about political philosophy for him.
Not at all. This is pure revenge.
Because of what happened to his father.
Exactly. King Zhou had Wenhuan's father, the previous East Marquis, executed in one of the most horrible ways imaginable.
Yeah.
He was minced into a paste for supposed treason.
So this is a blood feud.
It's a blood feud playing out on the stage of a dynastic war.
Yeah.
And that rage just translates into this incredible, overwhelming force. He cuts Dongzong down almost instantly, described as being fierce as a tiger, evil like a wolf. It just shows you the real human cost of King Zhou's tyranny.
And while all that personal drama is unfolding, the other Zhou heroes are just cleaning house.
It's a total rout. It's basically a showcase of Zhou's supernatural advantage. Niza whips out his universe ring,
Kiamkun-Quan.
throws it, and it strikes and kills the Shang general Dingxi, just like that. And then Yang Jian, who is always brutally efficient, he catches the last one, Guo Chen, as he's trying to run away, kills him on the spot.
So 3 generals gone in minutes.
Liurji is completely humiliated. He has no choice but to retreat back into this city.
The military option was a disaster, which leaves the Shang court with, well, only one card left to play.
A desperate one. A final appeal to Zia's conscience.
So King Zhou is, understandably, freaking out.
He's shattered. He's lost 3 generals. And this is when Yin Poba steps up. He's an elder statesman, and he actually used to know Zia.
He describes the situation of the state in a very memorable way.
He does. The danger of an accumulated egg. Just one wrong move and the whole thing shatters. He knows the war is lost militarily.
But he thinks the moral argument can still be won.
He's banking on his half an acquaintance with Zia. He thinks he can appeal to this shared sense of tradition and propriety from before the war.
And his goal is just heartbreakingly simple. He wants to persuade the Zhou army to just go home.
By appealing to the great principles of ruler and subject, he is the embodiment of traditional tragic loyalty. He goes to the Zhou camp, refuses to bow, and just launches right back into that same legal argument Lu Renji made.
Who violates the Son of Heaven's rule is a treacherous minister. Treacherous ministers shall be executed.
He doesn't even try to argue about the military situation. He goes right for Zia's legacy. He asks him, how are you going to face history stained with the name of usurpation and regicide?
And he offers a solution.
An unbelievable one. Just pack up your armies, go home, and don't worry, the king will forgive you.
I mean, you can just imagine the silence in that tent.
This is it. This is the whole political argument of the novel in one scene. Poba represents absolute order based on pure hierarchy.
And Zia represents a new idea, moral governance.
Right, based on the well-being of the people.
Right.
And Zia listens to him, respectfully, and then he just demolishes Poba's entire worldview.
He starts by shifting the whole focus away from the king as a person.
Completely. He delivers this incredible line. Tiangxia Sifei Yi Renzi Tiangxia Nai Tiangxia Renzi Tiangxia Yet.
Which means
the world is not the world of one man, but the world of all the people.
That's radical.
It's profoundly radical. In a system where the emperor literally owns everything under heaven, Zia is arguing that real sovereignty, the ultimate authority, belongs to the people as a whole.
It's a brand new social contract, but Poba is a loyalist. That kind of abstract theory isn't going to be enough.
No, so Zia has to prove that King Zio isn't just a bad king, he's a monster. A man who has systematically destroyed the very fabric of their society.
And this is where Zia lists his crimes.
Yes, this is the political purpose of that horrifying list. He counters Poba's legal argument with cold, hard evidence. He says King Zio has destroyed the 5 bonds, the Wulun.
And for anyone listening, we should probably explain the 5 bonds. They are the absolute bedrock of Confucian ethics.
Absolutely. They define the 5 core relationships: ruler and subject, father and son, husband and wife, elder brother and younger brother, and friend. Zia's argument is that King Zhou hasn't just been a bad ruler, he's violated every single one of those bonds.
Million wives, sons, loyal ministers.
And this leads to the specific atrocities that prove it. Things that go way beyond just political maneuvering.
Like the Paolu.
The Paoluo, where officials he disliked were forced to walk across a greased copper pillar heated by charcoal until they fell to their deaths. He talks about the chai pen, the snake pit he used on women in the palace.
It's just horrific.
It is. And the most chilling are the medical curiosities. The Kuti Yin Fu, cutting open a pregnant woman just to see the fetus, or the Zuo Chao Shijing, chopping off the legs of old men crossing a frozen river to see why their bones were so strong.
So Zia's point is that a man who does these things
is not a king. He has destroyed all humane governance. He's just a mere man, discarded by heaven.
Poba has to know he's lost, right? He's lost on history, he's lost on morality.
Yes. So he makes one last tragic pivot. He stops defending the king and starts defending the ideal of being a minister.
What does he say?
He says, even if the king is flawed, a loyal minister has 3 choices: guide him, suffer his punishments, or just resign and leave quietly. You never, ever publish his crimes or lead a revolt.
So for Poba, the act of calling out the king's evil is actually the bigger crime.
Yes. He accuses them of being self-righteous, of exalting their own virtue and condemning the king's evil. For him, protecting the hierarchy is more important than anything else.
You can just feel the tension in the room ratcheting up. The other zoo lords are furious with Poba's defiance.
They are, and Zia actually tries to de-escalate. He tries to protect Poba. He says, in a conflict between two countries, we cannot prohibit an envoy. He's trying to maintain some level of diplomatic protocol.
But Poba is too far gone. He's so wrapped up in his own rigid code that he makes a fatal mistake.
A fatal tactical error. He turns all his fury on the one person in the room who is guaranteed to explode.
Zhang Wenhuan, the East Marquis.
He goes right for Wenhuan's deepest, most painful wound.
He brings up his father's execution again. The mincing, the hick.
Yeah. He basically says, your father was a traitor who got what he deserved, and you're just like him.
Oh, no.
And that's it. That one insult shatters any attempt at diplomacy. Wenhuan, who we've already seen consumed by rage on the battlefield, is just instantly triggered.
He doesn't wait for permission.
He doesn't. He interrupts Zia, shouts that men like Poba are the reason the kingdom is destroyed and his parents are dead, and he draws his sword.
And just like that, Yin Poba is chopped in half. The diplomatic mission is over.
The tragedy is complete. Poba dies for an ideal of loyalty that was completely disconnected from the brutal reality of his king. But what's really critical is Zia's reaction.
Right, because the other lords are celebrating.
They're thrilled. The sharp-tongued fellow is dead. But Zia expresses deep regret.
Why? I mean, they won the argument. The war is almost won. Why does he regret it?
Because Zia knows that this kind of arbitrary killing, shanaxing Shalu, even of an enemy envoy, it damages their moral authority.
It's a stain on their revolution.
It is. They're claiming the mandate of heaven because of their superior virtue, and murdering an envoy, no matter how infuriating he was, suggests they lack restraint. It looks a little bit like the tyranny they're trying to replace.
So even though he has to press on with the war, he makes a point.
A huge one. He orders that Poba's body be honorably buried. He respects the man's commitment, even though that commitment was to a monstrous cause and led directly to his own death.